the first step towards the journey of idolatry, write this down, the number one step was a delayed response. A delayed response. Moses was on the mountain for 40 days. And so they looked around, they looked for God, they looked for Moses, God wasn't there, and Moses wasn't there. And so effectively what they did, because of the delayed response, they created their own solution to their own problem. Usually idolatry is, the beginning of it is when we ask God for something, we're expecting something from God, and we don't see it, and what we do, we create our own solution to the problem. They could not wait for God, so they created their own solution. Look at verse 1 in Exodus 32. It says, the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain. They called Aaron and they said, come up and make us a god. But the first step was that they saw that Moses was delaying. The question that I have for you this morning, what's your reaction when you pray and God delays to answer your prayer? You go and you create your own solution. Then the second thing that happens after delayed response is number 2, defective sacrifice. What I mean by defective sacrifice is after you created your own solution, now you're going to sacrifice in order to maintain that solution. And that's exactly what they did. In Exodus chapter 32 verse 3, it says, so all of the people tore off their gold rings that were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. Verse 6 now. And the next day they got up and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. Wait a minute. God wanted them, the peace offering that you see here was something that God wanted them to offer to him, not to a false God. The gold earrings, that was something that God wanted them to offer to him, not to a false God. And so a defective sacrifice, what is it? A defective sacrifice is when you offer up the thing that belongs to God and you give it to someone that is not God. Whatever belongs to God should be offered up to God, point blank, period. Later on, if you notice in Exodus chapter 35, verse 22, you will see that while God is building the tabernacle, he's going to ask them for the gold in order to build the tabernacle. And so how can they offer God what belongs to God when they've already offered it, when they've already offered it to the false God? And so again, a defective sacrifice is when you take what belongs to God and you give it to something or someone else. Let's get practical here. We're talking here about your finances, your money. How is your money being spent? What or who are you giving your time to? How do you use your body? Who are you giving your body to? Remember, the Bible says that your body is the temple of God. So if you're not married and you're giving your body up to someone before marriage, who are you giving your body to? Meanwhile, it belongs to God. And so whatever that you are giving to someone else that belongs to God, when you do that, you make your way to the next step of the process, which is a defective sacrifice. So you have the journey to idolatry, you have a delayed response, you feel the need to just do your own thing, create your own solution. Then after that you become, and then you offer a defective sacrifice, a sacrifice that belongs to someone else Look at Exodus chapter 32, destructive worship. When God saw what was happening with the children of Israel, verse 4, it says that he took the gold from their heads and fashioned it with an engraving tool and made a metal calf, and they said, "This is your God, O Israel, who brought you from the land of Egypt." Wait, what? The false God brought them from the land of Egypt? Wait, hold on, wait a minute. Wasn't it God who took them out of Egypt? Wasn't it God who said, "I'm going to take you out, and I don't care what Pharaoh says, I'm going to take you out from my hand"? And here it says, this false God brought you out of Egypt? At this point, it's full-blown idolatry. It's 100% complete idolatry, because the credit went to the false God and not to the real God. Let me give you an example. I have a daughter. It is my dream for one day for my daughter to be an astronaut. I want Camille to be the first Haitian astronaut, but that's another story. And so let's say in 20 years from now, Camille becomes an astronaut. And she becomes just this big shot astronaut. And then me and Danielle, we work hard, we sacrifice, we put her to school, we spend a lot of money putting her through school, through college, and then we attend her events, and then we just sacrifice a lot in order to get Camille to a point where she's an astronaut. And then let's say when she gets there, she has a speech to deliver in order to receive her award as the first Haitian astronaut. And then she's in a room full of hundreds of people, and let's say I have my best friend called G. And then Camille comes to the stage, and then Camille looks at everybody, and then Camille says, "I want to thank God for my parents, because they have sacrificed for me." And Camille said, "The name of my parents is G." What? Wait. Gene? No, Camille, you made a mistake. We're right here, Danielle and I. It's us. Remember us? We sacrificed for you. We put you through school. We encourage you. And she said, no. The name of the people who helped me get to this point, his name is G. How would you feel as a parent if your child that you worked hard for, you sacrificed for them, and then when it's time for them to give the credit, they give the credit to your best friend and not to you? Meanwhile, you know that you've never hurt that child. As a matter of fact, you helped them get to where they are right now. How would you feel? Would anybody be a little bit disappointed? Yeah. I feel like we would be disappointed. I would be extremely disappointed. God took them out of Egypt. God broke chains for them. They saw the power of God through the 10 plagues. And then now, here's what they've done. They said, "This is your God, Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt." The fake God. They gave credit, they gave honor to someone who never helped them. They transitioned from delayed response and defective sacrifice, and now they came to a point of destructive worship, total idolatry. And here's what God said in verse 10. Exodus 32, verse 10. God says, "So now, Moses, leave me alone, that my anger may burn against them, that I may destroy them." Moses, I love you, I appreciate you. You are not part of the idolatry, so just step to the side, Moses. But these people, I'm going to destroy them. Because of this very, very, very serious thing called idolatry. When we indulge and practice this very serious thing called idolatry, we take God off of his throne, and then something else, someone else, takes the place of God? These are some questions for you and I today for us to think about. Number one, where do I spend most of my time? What has my time? What is it that I do the most? Ask your question. Another question, where do I spend my money? What I'm doing is I'm trying to have you think of different sources of idolatry, different sources that can potentially be a source of idolatry. So your time, your money, and then number three, what solutions do I turn to when God delays in responding? What solutions do I try to force or to manipulate in order to get my desire, my outcome? Another question. Where do I get my joy? Husbands are upset because their wives are not giving them joy. Wives are upset because they can't get joy from your husband. I don't see anywhere in the Bible where it says it's your husband's job to bring you joy. I don't see anywhere in the Bible where it's your wife's job to bring you joy. I do see where it says that the joy of the Lord will be my strength. I do see where it says that the fruits of the Spirit is love, peace, joy. And so when you count on someone to provide something that only God can provide, you have to be careful. This thing may be a source of idolatry. Where do you get your joy? Next question. What's always on my mind? Is there something that's always on my mind? I have to be careful. This thing that you're always thinking about, that's always on your mind, may be a source of idolatry. And then the last question, what have I offered to others that only belong to God? What am I offering to different people that really belong to God? Your time, your mind, your talents, your gifts, your finances, all of these things. These are all questions. All of them are questions for us to ask ourselves today.